Hey traders, checking into the stock market today. So the bulls continue their steady march up through all-time highs. Semiconductor and crypto stocks continue their big-time breakouts. We're going to look at commodities and what I am planning for my next gold and silver trades. Let's look at the charts. So the S&P 500, yesterday we looked at the tightening sideways 15-minute range throughout the day. And that was just a 4-hour high or low. And it was set, and now we've got a new all-time high. Bulls are starting to lack follow-through on these all-time highs. We know daily consolidation will be inevitable. So I'm watching this uptrending resistance line. There's really not a whole lot else to be watching at this point. And we would need to see a bear break of this rising wedge, keeping in mind that rising wedges can and often do break bull in bull markets. If you want to keep it simple, you're just watching SPY and the pattern of a higher low each day, knowing that that has to break if we're going to pull back. That's not SPY. So SPY higher low 4 days in a row and have to see a bear break of 460.08 or we're not going to pull back. NASDAQ, same deal, 4-hour higher low set, new all-time high, a little bit more convincing follow through on its break. And looking at QQQ, again, keep it simple. If we hold 386.75, the low of today, tomorrow, the bulls keep complete control. We've got the FOMC tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is going to add some volatility, most likely. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And again, if we get bear breaks, we're just going to be watching for daily higher lows to form. Financial sector is closest to confirming a daily downtrend of our major sectors. And that's because we already pulled back and set a daily higher low at 39.92. And if that level breaks from here, it's a higher low, lower high, and that would be a lower low. So the first major sector to give any kind of notable red flag would be XLF, in my opinion, because QQQ, any pullback, just looking for a daily higher low. XLV, any pullback, is just looking for a daily higher low as well. So neither other name is close to confirming a daily downtrend like XLF currently is. But the bears have to prove it with a break of 39.92. So healthcare continues its laggard bounce. Still watching for a weekly lower high, but one is not shaping up at this point. Usually it's just SPY that goes for these V-shaped bounces, but it seems now everybody in the market wants to do it. The semiconductors did it. SMH, V-shape all-time highs. We were watching the potential of a head and shoulders, but we never came close to losing the daily uptrend, so we never came close to setting a weekly lower high. V-shape, all-time highs. AMD bounced right off daily EMA 12 to a new all-time high. Certainly needs follow-through. NVDA is pulling off its greatest impression of Tesla. Higher low every day, 9 days in a row. New all-time highs every day, a bunch of days in a row. Just a very strong sector overall. And it's always been correlated to QQQ, but certainly stronger in the recent past. Probably stronger in the last 14 months. IWM, new all-time high. So we're extended into this resistance test. And with this resistance zone, the last thing the bulls want to do is break it and then enter daily consolidation. But it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. Because again, the 4-hour time frame, that RSI got up into historical pullback ranges. So what I want to see for this to be a convincing break, I want daily consolidation wherever it happens, whether it's here or in a couple of days, but we need the higher low and higher high. If that happens, it'll be a much bigger sigh of relief for the bulls to show that follow through, because it will show bulls buying the dip for continued breakout. So that's what I'm watching for closely over the next week or so. And bulls will be watching for first hourly oversold conditions to be scouting that daily higher low. Biotech sector breaking out of its range. So bulls were really struggling. And this has a lot to do with the IWM bull move helping the biotech sector. But bulls were struggling day after day after day. And now finally 2 convincing, very bullish days. And it's not a coincidence that IWM is having some convincing bullish days as well. But the biotech sector is getting nice and tight. Let's look at the 2-week time frame. It's an equilibrium that's been building. Pressure has been building on this for 5 or 6 months. Low of the drop, top of the bounce, double bottom, lower high, higher low. Anything under 136.61 is a lower high. Personally, I'd like to see a lower high set, because when I'm not in positions, the tighter the better. And if we do set a lower high compared to 136.61, then I'd be watching for a potential weekly higher low entry, using 121.70 as a stop and then hoping for an eventual breakout. But bulls have their short-term control heading up towards that resistance of 136.61. GME and its long tightening range has some bullish action after hours. Is this after hours? Yep. And is heading up to its key weekly resistance, 231.44. Again, this pattern is a year in the making almost, 11 months in the making, and a key resistance test. And the other one we looked at with OSTK, testing its monthly resistance, 102.75. And it's right there, but this has been tightening for over a year. So lots of longer term tightening ranges out there, some of them testing resistance. Tesla, is it time to short Tesla? Need market help. So look at the last time SPY had a red day. Green 4 days in a row, SPY was red on October 27th. And that was the weakest day that Tesla has had recently, October 27th. You have to have market help if you're going to get a pullback in any meaningful way. You don't have to, but on a beast like Tesla, you definitely want the wind at your back. Because any bears that made entries today, and there were opportunities, top fish with the high of yesterday, with very little risk. We failed with a double top, twice actually. First thing on the morning, 15-minute high or low, another double top rejection. But again, we just never rolled over, and the bears never took control. And in my opinion, a lot of that has to do with the broader market staying bullish. So bears had wind in their faces. They need a broader market consolidation day to have the wind at their backs. So looking at it from the hourly perspective, anything under 1209 is just an hourly lower high. Bears are hoping the end of today set another hourly lower high, but we must break 1152 and 1145 tomorrow, 1146, for that daily consolidation to be underway. And then we scout first hourly oversold conditions and a daily higher low. But aggressive bears are definitely scouting their entries here, and we're watching the stair-step pattern of a higher low every single day. And 12 make that 1146 has to break for daily consolidation to begin. So checking in on the cannabis and psychedelic sector. So yesterday I went aggressive in both sectors. And today, first thing this morning, I was selling a lot of MJ. Why was I doing that? Because we got a very clear sell signal first thing. So the premise is we know we're in daily downtrends. We know daily lower highs are the most likely result of this bounce, but I'm giving the bulls a chance to see some follow through. So pre-market, we're set to open right under the highs of yesterday. So it's very simple. I know that if we do not break the highs of yesterday first thing, I don't want to be in positions. And the way that it works out is high of yesterday on TLRY or CGC, whoever you want to look at, CGC high is 1343. We open at 1325. We hit 1330, 13 cents shy of the high of yesterday, and then we drop. For me personally, I would sell there every single time on the initial rejection and rebuy higher if the bulls then follow through with the break, because that's then the bulls proving it. But as soon as you fail that high of yesterday, sell, 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 because the bears are jumping in and bulls like myself are exiting their positions because we didn't get any proof of follow through. And now there's daily bear flags across the board. USMJ is all daily bear flags. Canadian MJ are daily bear flags as well. So it was just a very clear signal first thing. And I sold TLRY first, and then I moved over and I was selling GTBIF from playing the oversold bounce a couple days ago. So now I am back to almost flat in MJ. I do still have some. I have a third of my GTBIF position left because that was my original game plan. Enter in oversold conditions, scale out 2/3 into the bounce, and now I can have a stop under 1925, break even. And if we don't break 1925, I'll stay in the trade. And if we break it, I'll stop out, break even. And again, that's the way that I am trading the sector. So I did give back some of yesterday's profits with the selling a little bit lower than where we closed yesterday. But again, I'm not going to be holding the bag. And likewise, I watched the psychedelic sector first thing. And for the psychedelic sector, ATAI broke resistance first thing and had a big old day. So I didn't touch ATAI because the bulls were proving it to me, and I'm still in that swing position from the low 14s. And 1790 is key weekly resistance coming into play. Sector leader, CMPS, has yet to see any daily consolidation. It's still in beast mode. Stair step pattern, higher low every day. Currently at the highest prices in 7 months, 8 months almost. And the other name was MNMD. I did sell. So this was what I talk about when not caring about rebuying. I sold MNMD first thing because we didn't break 280 and wanted to hold off against consolidation. I saw the low of the day hit. So we hit 272. We failed 280. Didn't even come close and start dropping. I sell at 266. We drop. We hit the low of the day. A bounce starts. I rebuy at 266, right where I sold it. Why? Because at that point, I have a closer level nearby to go off of. Okay, I'll rebuy exactly where I sold it. I'll put my stop under the low of the day. If the low of the day breaks, I no longer want to be in that position. The bears are proving follow through. If that marks the low of the day, then I want to keep my position. So we ended up breaking 280. Not a lot of follow through. And on this pullback, I then did exit half of my swing. And the reason being, the hourly time frame is looking a bit extended to me. Bull breaks are not getting the significant follow through that I would like to see. And with the daily chart looking like this, I don't want to hold my full position through daily consolidation. So I did exit a bit of that swing position as well. So in a very short amount of time, I went from aggressively swinging both sectors to aggressively shedding cannabis sector and still holding a good bit, the majority of my psychedelic names. But I will exit some more psychedelic names once we start priming up for daily consolidation. But just wanted to give the example of how I react really quickly to bears showing themselves first thing on the morning. One other thing about correlations, I talked about the IWM and cannabis correlation, and people will always look at the daily chart or look at the weekly chart and say there's no correlation. This is IWM and this is CGC. There's no correlation there. But what I am referring to is way more detailed than that. And again, it's from staring at the screen 95% of every trading day for the last 5 years on all these stocks. So let's see what I mean, talking correlations. Because CGC was correlated to IWM today, even though it was down 2 to 3%, and IWM was hitting an all-time high. How can that be possible? How did IWM start the day? 15 minutes of a drop, 3 candles. 25 minutes of a bounce, 25 minutes of a drop. What did CGC do? 15 minutes of a drop, 25 minutes of a bounce, 25 minutes of a drop. It did the exact same thing on the 5-minute time frame, but from a much weaker standpoint. So it is a bearish correlation. And there were times when we were running strong in this sector where we have bullish correlations. And for every step back that SPY takes, the sector takes a baby step back. And for every move forward, we take 2 moves forward. So now that it is a bearish correlation, for every step back IWM takes, cannabis takes multiple steps back. And every 2 steps up, or every step up that IWM takes, cannabis takes a baby step up. So it's just a very bearish correlation, but on the 5-minute time frame, they're absolutely correlated and doing the same things. They're doing very similar things, just from very different standpoints. So it's very important to recognize that because, again, recognizing bullish versus bearish correlations has been a very significant aspect as far as improving my trading game over the last few years. On to commodities. Dollar, still watching this rising wedge. My ideal scenario for trades to come to me, dollar strength. I want a dollar bull move up and double top, or a break with 0 follow through into consolidation. Because I want this bull move on the dollar to help with weekly consolidation in the metals. Because again, I want a position and I want these trades to come to me. Gold is essentially 2 daily inside bars in a row, but I need this weekly inside bar to break bear to set up this inverse head and shoulders that I've been watching. Well, at this point, I'm not going to call it an inverse head and shoulders. We'll just call it an equilibrium. High, low, double top, higher, low. And I want a lower high so I can make an entry, so I can use 1721 as my stop. And then hopefully we break bull from a tightening range. And again, the longer we tighten, the more follow through we can look for when the ranges finally break. And this one's been tightening for about 4 months. So if that happens, I will establish a position for a swing trade. If it doesn't, I won't. And if it runs without me, then I will reestablish my game plan. But the trade has to come to me. I'm not going to say, oh, well, maybe it's going to run without me and I'm just going to enter right now. That's not how it works. I would rather leave money on the table and watch it run without me. I'm going to patiently wait. Silver is already starting its weekly consolidation. Inverse head and shoulders is here on silver. Left shoulder, head, double top at weekly resistance. Now we scout the higher low. Can bulls confirm the weekly trend change? So I'm starting to get interested in silver, though I would like gold to start the weekly consolidation before I start looking to start scaling into silver. The miners have already started their weekly consolidation. Same deal. Need the higher low and higher high to confirm the first weekly trend change to the bulls since we topped out in May. That is my game plan for the metals. We'll see how it develops over the next week or two. Oil. Talked about an oil top fishing short in the weekend video for TheChartGuys members. And so far, it's potentially playing out, but we need help from the inventory report tomorrow. If we get a bearish reaction to the inventory report, a daily lower high is set, and it's then all about 80.58 because the bears need to confirm that break for a daily downtrend to be confirmed for the first time since this move got going back at the end of August. But it is a clear daily lower high potentially shaping up here. Very curious to see how it plays out. And personally, not trading oil. If I were, I would be doing it through futures, but I'm not trading futures these days or ever because between crypto and stocks, I need more things to trade like I need a hole in the head. Natural gas. Daily higher low trying to form. We will look for a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce. Anything under 6064. Weekly is trying to hang on here, but we're close to confirming a weekly downtrend. If we lose 480 support, a weekly downtrend is confirmed and monthly consolidation begins. And we have not seen monthly consolidation since 250. We ran 100 some percent. 160% since the last monthly consolidation. So an aggressive natural gas bear is going to scout an entry on a daily lower high and hope we roll over here as well. The energy sector is also looking at the potential of a right shoulder forming, but it would have to drop down and break 57.12 to confirm a daily downtrend and confirm weekly consolidation. And it's similar to XLF. We know there's a correlation there. XLF has to confirm the downtrend in the same way. So watching close, might be time for weekly consolidation in the energy sector and in the energy commodities. All right. Crypto names, MARA, explosion. Bitcoin is shaping up this weekly bull flag more and more. Weekly bull flag on Bitcoin under all-time highs is absolutely the most likely scenario unless bears prove otherwise. But MARA with the breakout follow through from the daily equilibrium, HUT all-time high breakout follow through, and coin continuation, but a bit weaker, upper wicks, consistent the last few days. Definitely looks like a rising wedge on coin. And Bitcoin trying to follow through on the weekly. All right, I hope you're well. We'll check back in tomorrow. Don't forget to do good things out there. And have a good rest of your day. So I'm going to use this end bed for garlic, which means step one is using the scuttle hoe to clear out all these weeds and marigolds and other things that have been growing over the past couple months. So this is a scuttle hoe, and I like it better than a regular hoe because it's a fluid motion, whereas a regular hoe, you're doing a lot of this, but because of the hoop here, it allows for a more fluid nice and easy. So this is step two, done hoeing, now clearing out the scraps. So some exponential gains where every single clove you plant in a few inches down and just cover it up. And then I put some dead leaves on top as well as a little bit of mulch. Not too thick, but just to keep things warm over the winter. And for every clove, you get a head of garlic. So this one head of garlic will hopefully give us 5. I space them every 3 to 6 inches apart. They grow pretty tall and straight up. So you can pack a good number in a small amount of space. So that's the end result. These leaves are chopped up through my lawnmower, and this helps tuck them in. They'll sprout before it gets too cold, so I come around and brush the leaves off so that the plant can get some sun. and I watered them in, and you don't have to do much else until you harvest them in the summer. There'll be times where if it hasn't rained in like a week and I'm watering beds nearby, I'll give them a spray, but they're really hands off. And that easily was the brunt of the work, what I just did, and that took 30 minutes.